and welcome back to the Conscious Contact podcast. My name is Genay Peavey, and I'm here with my co-host Susan Sanders, and we're laughing because if not, we'll cry. Today we'll talk about complaining. Ugh, what a bear! What a bear! I hate it. I'm talking about myself when I do it. I hate it. I'm complaining right now when I'm talking about complaining. But I hate when I do it. I wish that I didn't. It makes me cringe when I realize, and it is so insidious and easy to do. If someone asks you how you're doing and you say, okay, oh, but I'm really tired. That's complaining. And the thing that kills me about complaining is it just lowers the joy of everything. It lowers the presentness of everything. It lowers the other person's experience of their life in that moment. It lowers my experience of my own life. It makes me ungrateful. Yeah, it sucks. And it's easy.
It is easy. How do you differentiate reporting on the happenings of your day versus complaining?
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. And if I'm going through something hard, I don't necessarily feel bad about that. But then even then, I try not to complain about it. Most of the time, I'm like, I need to talk to my sponsor about this. Because this is something that's going to affect me mentally. And I want to have a way out of these feelings, not to just sit here and ruminate and rah about it. If I lived in an ideal world, I wouldn't differentiate between the two. I would shut my mouth if all that was going to come out would be me grumbling. You know, because I don't like the way it makes me feel, and I don't like the way it makes me feel about my day, because full stop, if I am alive and I'm sober that day, it is the best day of my life. And I can very easily lose sight of that. And I don't like it about myself. I don't care when other people do it, really. There's some people that go above and beyond, and that can be draining. And that's how I've realized how much I hate when I do it, because I have been on the receiving end of an over complainer, and I have felt how just icky that feels, and I don't like when I do that.
Yeah. Is it because you feel how's that for podcast? That's why I have a podcast, because I'm super verbally concise. So I think there's a difference between complaining being the reporting of one bad thing after another, is how I'm sort of defining complaining.
Yes.
What I'm more interested in, and this is where I try to go with people, is their feelings about the events that they're reporting. I am more interested in connecting with a person on that.
Yes.
And when I get frustrated and it really widens that disconnect, is they immediately go to joking, deflecting, or more reporting of events. So if someone says, you know, I tried to go Christmas shopping and it was really busy at the mall. This person took my parking spot. The line at the Starbucks was too long. Gosh, and so then they're going on and on about this. So then I might try to say something like, it sounds like that was super frustrating. All you wanted to do was buy gifts for your people, carry around a peppermint coffee, and enjoy the Christmas lights while you were getting all these presents. And it was just one barrier after another. Yeah. And then what these people did and what that people did.
Yeah.
Oh, was that disappointing for you?
Yeah.
Everyone just got in my way. Like I want to connect about the disappointment.
Yes. And I do think that that's the difference. So I've got some stuff that I'm like working through that is disappointing, or that I'm like, and I don't want to use this term and offend anyone, but I'm like grieving a way that something could have been that I didn't previously know was a
Right.
thing or a possibility or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a lot of unpacking to do. And when I've talked about that, one, I talk about it to the right people,
Mm-hmm.
to the people that I know are going to give me steps to not feel that way anymore. And I think that that is the key
Mm-hmm.
between complaining and actually working through something with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Complaining is me not wanting to hear anything that you have to say or a way out of these feelings or figuring out what's underneath them or figuring out if I needed an extra meeting before I did X, Y, or
Yeah.
Z, or maybe I need to get some more sleep and work on my sleep habits.
Right. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that is the not wanting a way out of it and just wanting to wallow in it. To me, that is complaining. If I am talking to someone about my feelings and like trying to suss out why I feel that way, or me saying straight up to them, I have felt just on edge and overwhelmed by people all day, and I don't like the way that feels, and it's been a bad day because of that. I'm going to be looking for experience, strength, and hope or something
Mm-hmm.
afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yes, that is the separator in my brain.
Yes. Yep. Because what I want folks to hear is that complaining is different than expressing how you're feeling.
Yes. Yep.
So there's the continual reporting of every shitty thing that has happened in your life.
Yeah.
That I think is complaining.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is the continual reporting of feeling shitty, feeling restless, irritable, and discontent, and not doing anything about that.
Yeah.
Then there's like the third layer of the universe that comes in where I am continually working to get through, not over, because you have to get through feeling restless, irritable, and discontent. I'm doing all the right things and I'm still feeling this way.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is, I just need someone to sit there while I'm feeling those feelings, because I've done all the things right, quote unquote. And I might need to hear when you felt restless, irritable, and discontent. And that is the sharing of the experience. That is needed, just sitting with someone as they're feeling in the muck.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is so vastly different. And I think if you really sit with it, it's easy to tell the difference if you've ever been on the receiving end of an over complainer.
Yes.
It is easy if you've had that particular experience. And if you haven't, one, it might be you who's the over complainer. And that's okay, because you know, recognizing you have a problem is the first step to changing it.
Yep.
And to me, complaining is like junk food. It's going to make you feel good to do it. It's going to make you feel superior, It's going to make you feel like your problems are the worst thing in the world. You may get some sympathy depending on who you're telling it to. You're going to get people to feel sorry for you. You're going to have them think that your life is worse than theirs and pity me and all of that. It's an easy way to get attention and love and bolstering and telling people you're doing great and everything's, whatever. It's a cheap emotion.
Right. I was going to say, I don't know that they're getting love, though.
They're getting their perceived, yes. Yeah, it's not actual. Again, it's like junk food.
In my opinion, it's not actual.
Yeah.
It's sort of like junk food love from the junk food call for attention.
Yep.
And it feels inauthentic, and this is so interesting because we joke, and some of our listeners had commented like how opposite we are and how we come at things from different angles. And this is why, because you're going to hear us agree on this whole damn thing this time.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure we're learning as much as this is why we do have this common thread, that this thing that really matters, which is working through our feelings, we have this thread in common for sure.
Yeah. And we've both experienced how painful it is when we don't.
Yeah.
And if I'm complaining about something, that means I'm not working on why I feel that way.
Yes.
And that happens, and that could be a phase of the process.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I also I'm not going to reach out to people with that type of stuff if I'm not ready to work on it. Because I've surrounded
Mm,
myself with women that if they hear me complain, they're the type of women that go, well, how'd you sleep last night? Or did you pray this morning? How was your meditation? How
right.
many people have you reached out to today? Like,
Yep.
have you done that 4-step yet? Like,
Yeah.
like, damn it. I just got angry because the grocery store was packed. And they're like, no, you didn't. No, you
Hmm.
didn't. You didn't
Right.
just get mad because Luke said something that came at you sideways. No, you didn't.
Right.
It's not the singular thing.
Right.
It
Or
is
you're
a
mad at
larger
yourself
thing.
because you meant to go to the store yesterday. You know you
Every
shouldn't.
time.
You know you shouldn't wait till, Sunday afternoon when the
Uh,
Panthers aren't playing.
mm,
Yeah.
every time. Every time. But
It's
yeah.
always about the grocery store.
Yeah. And it's it's either a lack of planning on my part. It's a lack of being spiritually fit enough to do that. It's a
Yeah.
lack of scheduling things to where I'm not overwhelmed at the end of that particular day.
Hmm.
It has to do with I did not do what my side of the bargain is here for life.
Right. Right.
I either had too high of expectations or I didn't take care of myself in the right way or something's going on and I have no one to blame but
Yeah.
myself.
Yep.
And that's not in like a woe is me self-deprecating kind of way. That is a legitimate if I am the problem, I am the solution.
Yes.
And it gives you so much freedom to not have to feel that way anymore.
Right. Right. And I think that going past the surface of reporting the things that went wrong, complaining,
Yeah.
below the surface, there's always the why.
Yes.
And the why is usually me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a hard time with the people that are just complaining and reporting these complaints
Yeah.
because I want to surround myself with people who are working on the next level stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
And when it's just one thing after another complaining about it, I feel lonely
Yes.
because this is not a person who is getting down in it and wrestling with it.
Yeah.
And when I feel lonely, that is because I've not detached from that person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now how I handle that, I need to consider the person that the complainer that I'm interacting with.
Yeah.
This has impacted how I am a spouse, how I am a parent, because, what I found in parenting, for example, with the kids who would just complain that the teachers never gave them the assignments the last second.
Mm.
Well, what are you doing about it?
Yes.
You're not doing anything about it. You're just complaining. Da, 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 da. Turns out kids don't come out of the womb knowing how to plan, prepare, time manage, etc.
Yeah.
So then I had to, help them with that. But below that complaining was, it's really frustrating when they have planned X, Y, and Z and haven't gotten it. Or it is disappointing when they count on the adult to adult and plan ahead. Like the teacher
Yeah.
is the person. So let's talk about the frustration, the disappointment.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I am more together than my college professor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because adults, like your parents disappoint you, your teachers are going to disappoint
They're all
you.
humans.
Right.
Yeah. That kind of awakening, because I don't have kids, but I went through it of realizing that adults are just humans too.
Yes.
And they had been my age probably not too long ago.
Right.
That was terrifying to me.
Yeah. Realizing your parents are fallible.
Yeah.
But
what freedom it gives you
Yes.
when you realize they are not Greek gods on a pedestal that can do no wrong and they're not the center of morals and ethics 90% of the time.
Right.
They're just a human who
Right.
had childhoods, who have shit they need to work on too,
Right. Right.
They are doing the best that they can to their ability. Not that,
Yeah.
and that's not an excuse for bad behavior, but it does a lot to explain that behavior. But yeah, it is emotional literacy, I think, is kind of the key there.
Wow.
It's
That is a
really
heavy phrase.
hard.
I
Yeah.
love that.
It is so hard. And that's more than
Jotting
just
that
like the
down.
feelings wheel that we need.
Right? Because then you need words, right?
Yes.
By emotional literacy, you're saying how to talk about your feelings, not just say this
Yes.
is the feeling is this, but then how to express it.
Yeah, I think even more so how to express it. And even less so like knowing the verbiage or exactly what it is, being able to come to someone and say, I almost had a meltdown in Harris Teeter. I need to figure out if I'm overscheduling myself or I need a better routine or I need to just do
Yeah.
grocery pickup. And it's that simple,
Yeah.
you know, like being able to say, this isn't working for me instead of just running through life and complaining and acting like a victim. Cause I've been guilty of that. Don't think that I'm like trying to shame or blame or anything like that.
Mhm.
If I run around this world acting like I'm a victim, one, then I will be a victim in my own brain, and that's nasty territory for me.
Yeah.
But also, that is going to bleed on everybody else around me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be gross.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a second,
Yeah.
because this episode comes out on Christmas Day. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Christmas!
I know you're listening the day it drops.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you might be having Christmas dinner with someone who is a complainer.
Yeah.
And how you might approach that person who is a complainer.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I try to do when I know I might be around a complainer is take care of myself first.
Yeah.
Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. We mentioned that earlier. That HALT is a huge tool in the recovery space.
Yeah.
Because if I've taken care of those 4 things, my physical needs, basically, and I don't know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, how those fit in. If I've taken care of my physical needs, then I'm much more likely to be patient with the person who's a complainer.
Yeah.
The next level of that for me is the prayer and meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I use the term prayer very loosely.
Yeah.
Stay with me.
Yeah.
And that can be whatever it might be for you. It might just be taking quiet time before you get out of bed, whatever meditation looks like for you. Those are the basic ground level things I know I need to take care of. Are those similar for you?
Yes. Yeah. Make sure you are taken care of. Make sure you've done all those things. You've had a coffee, you've had some protein, you've taken some alone time with yourself. You've managed your expectations of this other person. Like if you expect them to not complain and they're a complainer, you're going to be freaking out the whole time.
That's good.
But if you expect them to complain, you can go, "Oh, Aunt Sally,
Yeah.
look at you being who you are."
Yes.
And you can look
you might
at
not
it
want to
that.
say that to Aunt Sally.
No, but in your head.
In your head.
Yeah,
It's the voice you can have with your conversation you can have with your own voice.
Exactly. Like it eases so much when you just let them be who they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's what I wanted to go to next. So then you're in front of Aunt Sally.
Yes.
And Aunt Sally gives you all her new meds and ailments.
Yes.
And Aunt Sally talks about how awful everybody has been at every gathering she's been at this holiday season.
Yeah.
And you do what?
Yeah.
You say, "Oh, there's Aunt Sally, Aunt Sallyan."
Yes. There's
in your head, you say that.
Aunt Sally, Aunt Sallyan. I will generally offer up I wonder what they're going through to act that way towards you. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. That sounds really hard.
And you would say that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I've done that to lots of people, and that's partially taking care of me and doing the next right thing, because you never know what someone might need to hear.
Yeah.
Most of the time people are just going to ignore you when you say stuff like that.
I say it also, or I try to say it, and I'm getting better at it, because I also want to open the door a crack to have that conversation about feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they want to kick it closed,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's Aunt Sally.
Yeah.
Just being Aunt Sally.
Yeah.
I know I have taken care of my part, because that's also part of recovery, taking care of our side of the street, as they say.
Yeah.
And if I have opened that door and engaged with that person, if they've disengaged and continued to complain, it was hard. Let me tell you how hard it was the 10th time
Yeah.
I was invited to somebody's house.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you were invited to 10 parties?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
are so
You're so
popular.
popular.
That
Like,
must
what a
feel
gift.
good
Yeah.
to be invited. And
Yeah.
I might go back a second time for it, but I might not.
Yeah. It depends on my, spiritual bandwidth that day, or if I've been complaining earlier.
Yes.
It's giving someone back gratitude to frame their situation in
Yes.
does normally help a lot, even if it just shuts them up, because if they're just not wanting to go deeper and they just want to complain, if you say something like that, they will probably just be like, oh yeah, I guess you're right, and then just kind of move on to the next person because they know you're not going to listen, or
Yeah.
go after like wow, they really are a piece of shit, you should have told them off, and I'm so proud of you for not telling
Yeah.
it. They want that,
Uh-huh.
and that's okay. That's okay for some people. I can't do that. That's not for me to be on either side of that conversation like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just junk food for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I still complain all the time. And I hate and again, it's normally that knee jerk reaction of, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. Or somebody will look at me, they're like, you all right? I'm like, oh, I'm just tired. It's a long day, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's not like bad to say. It's not untrue.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of doing that, I could, even if I, am not ready to kind of unpack all of that with that person, I could
Yeah.
say, I have just had such a full day, and say
Mm-hmm.
that with a grateful heart. I've had a full, sober day.
Yeah.
Like, I just need to be grateful that I am
Yeah.
alive,
And it is okay to say that you're tired, because that is honest. I don't want people to hear
Yeah.
that you need to report inauthentically
No.
that you're just crushing life.
Yeah.
What I hear you saying, and please tell me if I'm wrong, is I had an action-packed day. So in the
Yes.
last episode, you talked about you were going to have full on Christmas
Full
Day.
on. Yeah.
So maybe at the end of that day, you're like, I'm tired. I had an
Yes.
action-packed day of Christmas. I'm
Mhm.
so glad we did it all.
Yes.
And I'm ready to get in the bed.
Yes.
Is that
Just
what you're saying?
reframing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't lie, but just reframe it in a way that
Mhm.
is still authentic, but is actually more authentic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you
Yeah.
could either say that, or you could say, man, I have had an emotionally wild day. And
Mhm.
that is authentic, but to me, that is less of a complaint and more of I am recognizing what is going on inside of me.
Yeah.
And once I recognize it, then the burden is on me to work on it. And it no longer becomes someone else's problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I do like the idea of the burden is mine,
Yeah.
and coming back to, what do I have control of?
Yes.
Now, this is different from controlling someone else. So
Yeah.
hear this. Because when we feel stress, I mean, research has found it's when we feel like we don't have anything to control.
Yeah.
So I am spinning out in front of Aunt Sally because I can't stand the complaining. What do I have control over?
Yeah.
And even at my most spiritual fit, even if I'm at my most spiritual fittest, whatever, I'm going to go 3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like will detach,
Yeah.
pretend I have to go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
whatever it is to
Yeah.
disengage from that
How about those
conversation.
Christmas cookies? Yeah.
No, I'm not going to ask her another question because she's going to complain about them.
It's a little dry.
They're
Yeah.
delicious and I'm too fat and Well,
Yeah. Oy, 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 oy.
I'm going to remove myself from that because
Yeah.
I just need to disengage from it. That's what
Hit a
I have
limit.
control over.
Yeah.
Um,
Boundaries, man.
Yeah. And it might be something, like I said, escape to the bathroom. It might be go, like, maybe you have to take or make a phone call.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be, if you need to just step outside.
I am a confrontational person to the chagrin of many around me. Not in a like negative, I'm gonna physically fight with you way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I do, if I feel like that person, if I feel like I can push them, not in a negative way, but in a like a let's grow you a little bit. I've
Mhm.
got the time and the bandwidth to sit with this. Sometimes I might be like, wow, it sounds like you've got a lot going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
what can we do to help you take care of yourself? Like, do you
Mhm.
want to plan a spa day?
And I might do that, but if I have done that 3 times and they're still going, I'm done.
I know,
When
I
do you
know.
know that
Yeah.
when do you stop persisting with that?
It depends on the person.
Mhm.
More closely related they are to me, um, honestly, the more patience I have with it. It
Mm.
used to be the other way around.
Mhm.
But if it's someone I don't really know that well, I don't really care, and I'm just going to be like, oh, well, it's good to see you. And I'm going to turn around and talk to somebody else. I'm going to be as genuine as I can be in the moment, but I'm going to stop the conversation and let them know through that
Mhm.
this is not something that you're going to talk to Genay about. Because again,
Yeah.
once you start listening and putting up with it, you've got
Mhm.
to be prepared for them to think, because again, you're setting their expectation for you.
Mhm.
If you let it happen once, they're going to think, oh, that's my go-to person. I can go
Yeah.
complain about this to, because they're going to sympathize with me. Or they're going to say, oh, yeah, that
Mhm.
sounds really hard, or, whatever.
So you wouldn't confront that person?
Probably not. One, I just don't
Uh-huh.
know them that well. And that to me is getting into an iffy ground of, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? Does
Does
it
it
need
need
to
to
be
be said
said
by
by
me
me
right
right
now?
now? Yeah.
Mhm.
With my family, I feel more comfortable with that one. They're closer to me, they're blood, I've already done as much as I can do to have them never talk to me again. I think we're good, Like I don't think there's anything I can do anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but again, it's also because I care about them more.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that to like be a shithead to the acquaintances that I have, but I mean that's just how it works. That's why there's a difference between acquaintances and friends and family.
Right.
Like I want them I want to give them the opportunity to
Mhm.
grow.
Mhm.
And I normally have a little bit more bandwidth for that. Also
Absolutely.
selfishly, because I'm going to be on the reciprocating end of it too, because I mean, they're a part of my family. And the
Mhm.
more they grow and the more I can deepen this relationship with them, the better it will be for both of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How do you work to find more compassion for complaining people?
It's hard. I mean, and I am not Christian, but this seems like a very Christian ideal. I hear about it talked a lot about on like podcasts where the hosts are primarily of Christian background.
Mhm.
Um, Cultivating the fact that I too have sinned, type of thing.
Oh, okay.
Like I've complained before.
Right.
I've been that person. I still do it all the
Yeah.
time. I still fall short of my ideals for myself. I still
Mhm.
put people in that uncomfortable position where they're like, "Oh yeah, it sounds hard today." Luke especially. He's like,
Mm.
"Okay, are you done?" And he'll say that to me. Are you get that out? Like, yes. Because I mean, sometimes that is just all I need to do. But again, that is junk food for me now. I do not have that luxury
Mhm.
anymore. Some people still have that luxury. That's not poison to them.
Right.
And I have to give them that space to do that sometimes.
Mhm.
It doesn't need to be with me. They can do it with someone else,
Mhm.
probably. But for me, it's poison. It's just like resentment. Because it is a
Right.
resentment. Complaint is a sister of resentment. It's real
Yes.
close.
Yep.
And I just can't do that
Mhm.
because it just gets nasty and I can feel it. I can feel like the animation they use for Pigpen when he's walking around. Like I can
The
feel
stench.
that start. All
Yeah.
the swirling and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just ugh, and
Mhm.
I hate it. And to recognize that I am fallible, I am not perfect. This person is hurting. That's another thing that helps me out a lot because I don't complain unless I'm hurting. I
Yeah.
got something I don't want to look at, and I don't want to have to take responsibility for it.
Yep. Yep.
Not yet, anyway. Maybe I will later. I hope that that's where I get to now when I'm complaining.
Mhm.
That I take the reins up and whatever. They might not have the bandwidth to do that, or it might not be something they feel they need to change. It might not hurt them enough. They might not be in enough pain.
Yeah.
And I hate that for them, but there's nothing I can do to get
Mhm.
them there faster.
Yeah, and the idea of them being in pain, I have often said, like, the only thing worse than being around a person like that is being a person like that.
Exactly.
Because I can detach from Aunt Sally and go, check Instagram in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
But Aunt Sally ain't never gonna get
She
away
can't
from Aunt
disconnect.
Sally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's hard.
so that goes back to the hurting people hurt people.
Yes.
Um, but the
Yeah.
awareness of that person being in pain
Hmm.
is really the go-to for me for helping find compassion for them.
Yes. For anyone. I love that tool, and my sponsor says it all the time. If you've got someone that's coming at you crazy, whether it's a sick person, whether they're one of us and you're in a room with them, a complainer, or whatever, imagine them, and this is very graphic, so I apologize, but it works. Imagine them with an open, bloody, pus-filled wound on their forehead, because that's what's happening.
Well, I picture it on their heart.
Oh,
Like that
yeah.
pus wound is their heart.
Yeah.
Because there is some wound that is gross and pussy.
Yes, and I wouldn't treat someone with an amputated leg that's infected who was not in a good mood. I wouldn't treat them or think about them in the way I'm thinking about Aunt Sally.
Right.
And while that is, yes, it's different, it shouldn't be in my heart.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can still set boundaries and not engage and know that I don't need to be her go-to person anymore, but also cultivate that compassion and understand that she is in a lot of pain and she cannot get out of it.
Yeah.
She is stuck with that. And I've been there and it sucks. And that is scary. And I want to be there for her. I want her to know, again, with the rebuffing, with hey, let's think about it this way, or, oh, I wonder what they were feeling, or whatever. I want them to know that if they do ever, that's why I tend to try to go deeper with those people. If they do ever want to broach that and get out of it, they know that if they come to me, I'm going to be consistent.
That's right. I'm going to get my feelings wheel out, and I'm okay to have that conversation with them.
Yes. Yes. Because maybe one day it'll happen.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe not, but I'm doing what I need to do on my side of the street to have that open door for them. Because I don't complain unless I'm in pain, some way, shape, or form. And especially this time of year, it's easy to get worn out or just say I'm tired all the time.
Oh, super busy.
And while that may be true, again, just you have the ability to bring more joy into your life at any moment you desire.
Yep.
You reframing it, and not in a way that's lying I'm great. Don't do that. But saying my life is so full right now in this season of life.
Yeah.
And wow, how grateful I am to show up and be alive and sober for that. And how many luxuries I'm afforded because of the new life that I have now. I always take it back to recovery and being grateful for that. This past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, so one right after the other, were the two big holiday parties that I was going to. I love getting them out of the way early in the month. The rest of it is done because I love a good holiday party. But it is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people I don't know, so it's a lot of surface level small talk, and it really drains me. But if I can, one, be in the moment and just be present with that person and listen to them and realize there's no pressure here. This is very small stakes. And remember, wow, I am sober and people invite me to things now.
Right.
People want me in their home. People are not scared I'm going to steal from them. Holy shit. Life is good. People aren't scared I'm going to make a complete ass of myself in front of their friends and family. Whoa, that's new.
And what a way to set the tone for your holiday season.
Yeah.
That this is the intention that you are going into the holiday season with.
Yeah.
And so when people are finding themselves complaining, that's another tool to come back to, okay, so my intention was this.
Yes.
Let me have a moment of consciously connecting with my why of this intent. I forgot the only thing I truly wanted to do was sit down in the dark and look at the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
I forgot I said that. Let me go do that and see if that helps change my attitude. Instead of being the only damn thing I wanted to do is look at the lights, and I haven't even done that.
Yeah. Are you asleep right now? No.
Yes.
So you can still do it.
It could be 30 seconds.
Yes. And man, if I can't tell you the amount of times I've been at a party realize that I'm not being present with the person, taken like 10 seconds to just zone out while they're talking so that I can jump back in.
Yeah.
So I like let all the sound come in and everything just kind of goes to the same level. And then I focus back in on that person and say, let's be in my head. Let's be intentional here. Like you were not present. You were waiting for them to finish talking. That's not okay.
Yeah.
That's not a good version of you. That's not how you want people to remember you.
And I've even said to people, I'm sorry, I was really having a panic moment about how packed this room has gotten.
I
Can
missed
you say
everything.
that again?
Yes. Yeah. Or I'll just go, huh? Sorry. I was not listening. And that is on me. Whatever you have to say is valid. And I want you to repeat that if you feel comfortable. Because it's true. It's so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Complaining it's a bitch. But it is just a thief of joy. It is. It just immediately brings down my life in that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just knocks me down a couple of levels whenever I do it. And it can be something completely valid. It could be. It could be a hard thing or it could be a disappointing thing. But instead of saying, I can't believe they did. Can you really not believe they did that? Like, first off, come on, Genay. Can you really not believe that a human was a human? But instead of just complaining about the surface level stuff, how about I talk about how that made me feel?
Yes, that is my ask of everyone listening is what if you reported on how it made you feel instead of just reporting on someone else's behavior?
Yes. Or how am I going to do things differently next time? Like, went to Harris Teeter on a Sunday. It was crazy. I got all riled up. I know that's not good for me. I didn't plan appropriately, and I'm kind of disappointed with myself because I put myself in that situation.
Yes.
On my calendar, I'm writing down Friday at like 3:00. I'm going to go there instead, and not on the 1st of the month and not on the 15th of the month if people get paid cyclically like that. Like no 1st, no 15th, no 30th.
Don't go to Harris Theater on Tuesdays and Thursdays because it's senior day too. I don't want to rush a senior citizen, so I just need to know.
Yes. Or I'm going to place an order for pickup for 5 days from now.
Yes. Or I'm going to take my earbuds with me, and if I don't have a book, you know what? I have the financial means to buy one in the parking lot of Harris
Or I'm going
Teeter.
to call somebody and catch up with them.
Oh, don't talk in the grocery store.
No. Oh, not on speakerphone. So, I can agree with that. Or no
but if you're in the earbuds,
FaceTime.
though, aren't you talking?
I am, but I'm not screaming anymore.
No, I can't. Well, I don't know that I physically have the capability not to talk loudly. I'm sorry for everyone who has to adjust your volume. Susan talks today. Susan talks.
I put a levelator on it, so it should be pretty even keel.
Yeah, but there's just stimulation in the grocery store. I can't stand it.
No, I agree. Yeah.
And so when people start having conversations.
Yeah. I have auditory, I think we talked about this on our previous episode, auditory overwhelm, where it can make me, like if I'm in a packed restaurant, I can feel like I'm going to pass out.
I'm just sensitive and bitchy.
Maybe
no
maybe
diagnosis.
you have what I have.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same thing, because it does. It makes me freak the fuck out.
Yeah. But why am I so loud then? Like, do I annoy myself?
Well, no. It might be compensating. Trying to drown it out. I don't think you're loud though. So, I mean, I'm a pretty fucking loud person too. Don't get me wrong. That's why we're doing a podcast together.
The people listening, I know about 5 of you that are going to email Genay and be like, she's loud.
Yes, I'm loud. I'm loud.
Yeah. Anyway, we're both loud. We agree.
Yes.
The whole episode is us agreeing with each other on everything.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is that thing where complaining is kind of a cop-out.
Yes, and I'm going to give one caveat also that is included in all of this is the self-deprecating, the humor while you're complaining. That still is complaining, and you just be like, oh, well, I was just trying to make a joke. Well, when it goes on and on and on, and that's all you do, there are feelings underneath that. And I want to talk about those feelings. Yeah. This is one thing that originally started me writing and really spawned a whole Sustainable Sue pushing me over the edge to write about it is this whole I failed more than you did. I am worse than you are. The Pinterest fails. It's a whole concept that I think especially white women, middle class white women, is this the only thing that we have to complain about? No, I want to talk about more.
Yeah.
I want to connect with people who want to talk about why we feel like we have to disparage ourselves in front of all of our friends.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah. And it is a hard habit to break. Complaining is an extremely hard habit to break. It's the same thing with drama and gossip. I mean, it is hard. It takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes a lot of just stopping that conversation sooner, because it's not going to get well, for me anyway. We'll find out as time goes on, but it's not like I've eliminated it. It's just I recognize it earlier now, and I call myself out like I am just complaining. I am so sorry. That is not helpful to me. First and foremost, complaining is not helpful to me.
To the complainer.
Yes, it does nothing for me.
Right.
And it does nothing for the other person.
Right.
You're giving them junk food too. It's the same thing with gossip and drama. It does nothing for either one of you.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't.
Yeah, and I wonder if so this is coming in on Christmas Day, so New Year's resolutions, if we do have listeners and watchers that are those who set resolutions, if you are trying to cut down on the amount of complaining, this might be a good episode to share with someone and be like, look, this is something I want to address.
Yeah.
So can you help keep me accountable?
Yes.
Inviting them into that work with you.
Yes.
And maybe they could say, is this what you're talking about when you shared that episode?
Yeah.
And if that other person doesn't have a feelings wheel either, maybe you'd be like, is this where we're supposed to talk about feelings?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't know what the feeling is underneath it. Maybe they don't know to ask you the question, but it's a nice accountability buddy opportunity.
Yes.
That let this episode be what could launch you into having that conversation with someone that you want to do better.
Yeah. Accountability is key with any of this stuff. Habit change. Like, some form of accountability is
absolutely
really necessary. And I mean, we can be your accountability too. Message us if you want to complain and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right. What's a way to reframe this? Maybe that is a conversation that we could have with you if you wanted to reach out.
Yeah. And anytime you share it, it lessens it. You know what I mean? And that could be your jumping off point. You could say, hey, I feel like I really want to complain about this situation that just happened. I know it's not that big of a deal even as I'm saying it. So I would love for your perspective.
Yes.
Situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, my joy is directly related to complaining. Is there anything you want to share before we move into a wrap up?
I'm intrigued.
So I was complaining about the path my reading was taken. I had, is it 20 or 30% of the books I read last month I abandoned, which is the highest total I've ever had since I started keeping track. And then one of the first books I finished in December was a slog. Like, it was literally 750 some pages. And I kept thinking, I'm going to quit. And then I'd get sucked back in. And so I was just bitching up a storm. So I got tired of hearing myself complain. And like, I have stacks of books in different rooms. And I was terrified to pick up one of those because what if I chose wrong? Right. So I got all into my head about it. So what I decided to do was go to my Goodreads list, and you can sort and filter by different things.
Yes.
So I sorted by shortest. So I looked at the shortest books, and I borrowed a bunch from the library, and some were a hit, some were a miss, but I read things I never would have picked up.
Yeah.
I picked up poetry. I picked up a book of essays. I picked up an audiobook by Stephen King I'd never even heard of before.
Ooh.
It wasn't scary, so it was totally consumable.
Oh.
And I've been really delighted at some of the things I've read. Like, and then I abandoned a couple of them, but if the book is 2 hours long and I'm not loving it, it doesn't matter because it's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So I can just jam through it. So I like the idea because it fits exactly with what you're saying. I need to reframe. I need to consider myself as the source. Like, it's not the author's fault. This isn't a
Yeah.
bad book. It just didn't land with me.
Yeah.
So completely flipping things around, and now I'm starting to pick up books on my stack again. And I want reading to be a joy.
Yeah.
So if I'm starting to complain about something that's a joy, the problem is
Right?
me, yo.
Right.
What can I do differently?
Ugh.
So I appreciate that reading has become a joy, the reframing and flipping of it, because that's not something I would have always done,
Yeah.
but that is a gift I have of sobriety, is learning to flip it, is what my sponsor and I call it. How can we look at this differently? The reframing of it, and maybe that helps somebody else.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, what about you?
Oh gosh, so much. I mean, we're recording this in December, and it's just all the things, all the feelings, all the
Yeah.
sparkly, twinkly
Headbands.
moments. Yes, and this lights up too. By the way,
Oh,
so
why
if
is it not lit up?
I didn't want to waste the batteries because we've got so
Oh,
long left. So we
yeah.
got really fast. If you're
Those are
only
cute.
listening to this, by the way, we have a YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/the @ conscious contact podcast. So you can see what the hell is going on right now.
Those are so cute.
Okay, we'll just go with this because this is very recent. First off, Publix is amazing.
Oh, I've never been, but I've heard such good things.
Yes, my hairstylist is in Jamestown, so I was very close to that Publix. And Luke likes a very specific type of jam, and they're the
Mm.
only place other than Costco that sells it. And I was not mentally prepared to go to Costco. So I went to Publix and I'm like, wow, Publix is amazing. I hate that it's so far away. I
Yeah.
absolutely love Publix. So that aside, they're not a sponsor.
Yet, if you'd like to
Right?
be a
Publix,
sponsor,
please
come find us
Yeah.
at consciouscontactpodcast.com.
Yes. So this was in their holiday section
Oh,
for $2.89.
that is $2.89 worth of joy right
And
there.
I don't normally buy mass-produced plastic holiday stuff just because it's gonna not work next year.
Mhm.
But damn it, this thing is great. And
Super cute.
oh my God, I've worn it so many times already. I've worn it. I think I wore it to both the holiday parties that I went to. I'm wearing it right now. I'm going to continue to wear it tonight. I'm going to wear it on Christmas. I'm going to wear it lots of days in between now and then. It is a tiny little thing where I looked at my morals and values and I said, yes, mass consumerism is not aligned with it. Single use, almost plastic things are not aligned with it. However, my joy and happiness takes reins over all of that if it's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is healthy.
Yes.
So
Fantastic.
this is definitely it. So if you have a Publix near you, I need you to go get one because it's amazing. But yeah, just all of the feels, all of the opportunities to cultivate joy, all of the opportunities to sit with joy and just think, wow, life is great.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean that I'm ignoring my issues and things that I need to be working on and all of my emotional stuff.
Sure.
But damn it, if it doesn't give you a lot of opportunities to reframe that and just be like, wow, life is great. The fact that we're alive on the planet at this point in time with all its issues, it's still the best time to be alive. Like, if you ever think, oh, the world it's so hard and everything's crazy, go back and look at any other era of time. Okay, go back and watch Victorian Pharmacy on YouTube.
That's a very specific example.
Yeah, I just watched that the other day. Wow. Okay, so you're not getting cocaine and absinthe as your Tylenol. Like, we're fine. We're good. We're not in a war right now. We're not fearing for our lives. There's no genocide currently happening in America that is in our perspective. However, it is happening in the rest of the world. But we are so privileged. We are the most privileged country in the world, the most privileged time in human history for health and wellness and well-being. And we have podcasts talking about emotional literacy and come on now. We have light up Christmas headbands. Everything's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not getting chased through the woods with a butcher knife. Everything is okay. I don't have anything to complain about. I could, but why? Why would I?
Very good. Well, we'll end on that note, and we wish everybody a happy Christmas if you're listening on the day this comes out.
Yes.
And you can find me at sustainablesue.com.
Yes, and I am at Genay Peavey on Instagram, and leave us a note. Let us know all of your Christmas fun times, any cookies that you have, any moments where you're like, man, I almost complained and then I didn't, or I complained and now I don't feel great. All of that and everything in between. Shoot us a comment, share this with someone for accountability, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thank you.